Talking about sex is an awkward conversation for any teen, but what if you have different adults in your life and you don't know just who to talk to about it? So we're here to talk to a couple of youth about how they had the conversation about sex while they were in foster care, if they did at all, and what that experience was like for them. Bonita Tyndall and Tony Contreras. I have 3 questions for you guys before we begin the conversation. I'm going to give you guys 3 statements, and I want you guys to respond either yes, no, or kind of with your papers, okay? First statement, talking about sex in foster care is easy. No, okay. Most adults want to have the conversation about sex. No. When I was in care, there was an adult I could trust to have the sex talk with. 3 no's. Why was having the sex talk so difficult when you were in care? Either one.
For me, I think the sex talk was difficult because I feel like the main focus for when I was put in foster care was to focus on what I need and just getting me comfortable and being in a different home. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like it was awkward for parents just to talk about sex themselves. And so for me to ask about it, I just felt like there was, that's just out of the question. So I just never really considered asking them. I think for me, I ended up I think my friends were more of where I got all of my information about sex.
So you felt like the adults in your life, it wasn't a priority to talk about it. The other stuff was kind of making sure you had a home, making sure it was safe, and taking care of every other thing. Yeah. How about you, Bonita?
When I was in foster care, I really didn't think of sex at all. I think all the foster homes I was in, we were really sheltered, and that subject was never brought up, and we would watch Nickelodeon, the Disney Channel, so we never got to see it on television either. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't really need to have anyone to talk to about it.
And then when those questions came up, though, or just your curiosities and, you start getting your hormones and all that kind of stuff, how did you get the education? How did you learn about sex? Did someone talk to you about it? Did you learn in school? How'd that conversation happen?
I do remember that I think it was in 5th grade, the sex ed class for 5th graders, we had to do a sex ed, but I also learned a lot from my friends. My friends educated me a lot about sex, and so I never really felt like I needed to go to my parents, to my foster parents.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really know them a lot anyways, so I wasn't really comfortable with them, and I bonded closer to my friends that I just met, so.
Mm-hmm. How about you?
I had a sex education class as well in the 8th grade, and sometimes I would go to my sister.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is your sister older?
Yeah, she's older.
So it sounds like you guys relied a lot on friends or family who were close to you, close in age, who you could talk to about it. If an adult had talked to you about it, who do you think you would have wanted to talk to you about it? And who do you think you would have been most comfortable with? A lawyer, a judge, a social worker? Who?
I think my therapist, I guess I could have brought it up with him, but I just wasn't comfortable yet. Mm-hmm. So but I think of adults, he would have been the most trustworthy.
Yeah.
I think no one. I didn't feel comfortable talking to any adults when I was in foster care. And I think
Why?
I don't know. I thought of them as scary. Or someone that was always analyzing me or something like that. Mm-hmm.
So you would rather talk to someone like a sibling or someone you know?
Or maybe the other foster children.
A lot of this conversation, when it does happen, is a heterosexual conversation about sex. But Tony, I know you had a different experience growing up in care, and as a gay teen, did you feel like it was even harder for you to have that conversation with your foster parents? And what was that experience like for you in care?
It was difficult because I would just observe what my foster parents would do, and just by their reactions on things that were on TV, they would just make little comments, and they would already just the way I was, they would just be oh you're my little Fruit Loop, or or they'll be like, oh, buttercup like this or something like that. But I didn't really take offense to it because like I just thought, because I'm a little sensitive and like I thought I was just overreacting, and so I just never really brought it up to them or really said anything. But it does get to you, like you're just like, so like that made me not feel comfortable to talk to them, and so I just dealt with it myself and told my friends, and like they helped me through everything.
So having that experience, and Bonita, you saying that you didn't have that adult that you felt comfortable enough with to have that conversation, what would you guys suggest to adults to do so that youth in their care do feel comfortable having that conversation?
I think that the adults should maybe they should just learn how to like build a closer bond and not really just focus on the main priorities, like that, like don't just focus on the main priorities, actually get to know your foster kid and actually grow have an emotional bond with him and or her, and learn like what they're about, and be able to trust them and let them trust you.
Mm-hmm. Good suggestion. Bonita?
I agree with Tony. There should be like a bond between foster youth and the foster parent, and they should, spend time.
Spend time. You can't just automatically talk about sex, but you need to have that relationship there beforehand so that you feel comfortable enough even having it.
Like if there was like something that said, oh, it's mandatory for you guys to talk to your kids about sex, I feel like they'd be obligated. So they'd be like, okay, well, it's February and the month's almost over, so we're ordered to like talk about sex. So what about it? I'd be like, no, I wouldn't want to talk to you about it. Like, I'm not comfortable. I wouldn't trust you.
Right. So it needs to be genuine.
Yeah, like I think I think that it needs to be genuine.
So it sounds like genuine conversation and possibly equipping other youth with the tools to talk to other youth about sex and have the right information, since you may develop a conversation and a bond with them first. Sounds good. Thanks, guys, for your experiences and sharing them with us today.